Duval, what's up, man? Week one's in the books, and we got the dub, man. And I mean, yeah, it was close. Yeah, it was a little closer than what I said last week. But a win is a win. Um, I'm just glad to get this dub. We're still on top of the AFC South. I get it. It's only week one, but hey, let's get to it. This week I'm gonna be talking. This is Duval against y'all with your host Blindside73. You can find me on Twitter at blind_side_73. But this is on the Toys and Titles Network. Make sure to like and subscribe. But we're gonna go into our week 2 preview. I'm also gonna give you my predictions, just like I did last week. My predictions were pretty good last week. I said Ridley touchdown. I said Walker and Allen sacks. We got both of those, or all 3 of those. So let's see if I can do it again. All right, so let's get into it. So I'm going to give you a brief recap. I mean, like many of y'all saw, we beat the Colts. First time since 2017 that we beat the Colts in Indianapolis. Now, hopefully in week 6, we can continue the streak at home. I still think Anthony Richardson, the week 1, he looks like he's the best rookie quarterback. Our division is going to get crazy soon, but we'll see. We're the only one in our division to win our first week 1 game, which is good. I like being on top of this division. We need to show that it's going to run through Duval. We did post to. There was a couple slip off with the offensive line, more in the interior offensive line than anything, and that's a problem facing this week with Chris Jones coming back for the Chiefs. With his new contract with he's getting fixed off. I will admit I'm kind of disappointed. I was hoping he'd be out for at least another week. Especially with how our interior offensive line looked. But I think we still have a chance. Brendan Sheriff, Fortner, and Barge all had trouble with DeForest Buckner. I mean, that weird play with Tank basically with the Trevor fumble and then Tank picking it up, thinking it was dead ball, and then to get punched out. That was all because Buckner beat our interior real quick. So I feel like that could be a problem going into if we don't get that short up. But with the Chiefs only having Chris Jones, I feel like may help a little bit. No disrespect to the other guys, but Chris Jones is obviously the dog there on that D-line. I mean, the Colts had Grover Stewart, but Grover Stewart's he's good, but he's not an elite guy. So hopefully we can slow that down. We can double Chris Jones and then give the tackles on the line. And I personally feel like both of our tackles, Walter Little and Anton Harrison, did decent. Anton Harrison was always going to be a little growing pains because he's switching from left to right. And obviously the pro game on top of it. So it's fine. I'll give him a little pass. Walter Little, while his PFF grade wasn't great, his on the field, if you watch it, the only play that was really bad from him was his holding call, which is tad unnecessary, which obviously you want to clean that up. But after week 4, I feel like Cam's going to be outside and Walter might move inside, so that will help with that. But, of course, we'll play the Chiefs this week, so it's not going to help us this week. But let's go into – so after that – so with that, I'm glad Ridley looked amazing. Zay Jones looked good. Evan Ingram's isn't going to be a great target guy, but he still looked good the little bit he got. I think we showed how we're going to feed Calvin Ridley. Hopefully Calvin Ridley can keep this up for an entire season and not just like – because a lot of players, when they come back, they'll burst early and then they'll kind of pepper off just because like the grind of the whole year. But hopefully we're good on that. I don't think we will, but if worst case scenario happened and he need a week, I think he's built to do that. I think our offense is built to do that since we have Kirk and Zay Jones on the outside. We can see what some of these, and then Ingram can go on the slide if we need to. So we have options if Ridley does, but I don't think he will. I think he's out to prove that he didn't miss a beat during his 1.5, 2 years off. But I'm glad to see it. So the Kansas City Chiefs are coming off their Thursday night opening night loss to the Lions. They did not look great. Their receivers all were having drop issues, like 2012 Jaguar bad drop issues. Tony and all of them, Moore, they're really missing Travis Kelce. As of now, it looks like Travis Kelce still probably won't play this week. I think he's listed as questionable, which that may change as of this after this comes out. But But if he's not playing, he's going to rely on those receivers again. And that's a lot for those receivers. I think we all knew it was going to eventually catch up to him. The Tyreek Hill thing we thought was going to happen last year, but Kelsey and Mahomes proved that they can carry it. But without at least Kelsey, I think Mahomes is going to struggle a little bit early till Kelsey gets back, just because the receivers aren't great. And with the one they could have had last year, this year is Juju. Juju's still not a great receiver, but he wouldn't be dropping to the extent that these guys are dropping on Thursday night. So I think our defense lines up pretty good with that. They don't really have an elite guy right now. So with Tyson Campbell and Darius Williams out there, and Trey Herndon, who I know I was one of the ones who was talking trash about Trey Herndon, was showing last week that he was doing good. So he should be able to hold off Gregory Jr. for this for now. But it's great. So that's great to see, because that just helps our secondary get even better and better. But then there's not really a big option for the Chiefs right now. And I got we got to worry about it. It's like, even the Colts had Michael Pittman, and don't look at his stat line versus when you want to say, oh, Tyson Campbell got beat. No, Tyson Campbell was locking him up. He didn't put it on the line until they started moving him away from Tyson. Which part of that is on us as a defense. We got to just have Tyson follow, or have him and Darius follow, because there were plays that Michael Pittman, for Luakon, like the final play of the game for the Colts, for Luakon was on Michael Pittman, which he made a great play, but still, I was like, that's not a matchup that I feel comfortable with. The Colts, I know, felt comfortable with, thinking that a linebacker on Michael Pittman, that's a good matchup. But so I would look at that. I also wouldn't. One issue we had in week 1, I wouldn't say it's an issue, but it will become an issue sooner, is our pass rush. Josh Allen had a day of his life with 3 sacks, given 2 of them were the push out of bounds sacks. They still counted sacks. So he's leading the league in sacks, technically, or he's tied for the league. And Trevor Walker got a sack, which is great, but we can't be having them play 80% snaps like this all the time. Chaseon's not cutting it. Yosua Dula in six snaps had a pressure, which is more pressures than Chaseon had all game. I think we might need to go. Like I said, we need to go get Melvin Ingram or somebody to help with this, because especially on plays when we put Josh Allen and Trey Walker in coverage, which I'm not saying that I don't like that either, but I understand, because 3-4 usually have their linebackers usually do a little bit. We need another pass rusher for jobs like that, because what happens was they do that, and then whoever's not in coverage, so say if Josh Allen's in coverage, it's just Trayvon Walker who can really get a pass rush consistently on the edge, so they just slide the protection to Trayvon, and then Trayvon's neutralized, and Chaseon's not doing anything. Foley's not a huge pass rusher. He's more of a run stopper, so he's not getting as much, can't get there as quick. Devon Hamilton's still out, so that hurts that too. So I would look into that. Especially with Mahomes this week, I wouldn't do any of them in coverage. I would just blitz. I would just have both those guys going. Yes, that's going to limit our defensive scheme, but Mahomes, he'll attempt to carve us up like that. We need a guy like that. Yeah, he can move a little bit, but he's not going to be as much of a mover as Anthony Richardson was last week, so that should help us a little bit. We won't need a spy as much. So that's good, but in order for us to win, I feel like that's what we're going to have to do. It's just all right, you're just going to rush. We're no tricks. We can do stunts and stuff, but no one in coverage. I feel like that's going to be our best thing to slow down their offense. Everybody else, I felt was good. Cisco was great with the getting the penalty, then the next play forcing a fumble, which I don't think that unnecessary roughness should be called. He doesn't like it. He's been hinting at it on social media about it. Not enough to complain about the reps, but more of just like, oh, you like it when Jeff Jessup made a late hit, but when I do it, you get me the flag. So that's an issue. I agree with that, because it was a little ticky-tacky. I think a lot of people just were afraid that game was going to get out of hand. Like they were trying to push it back. But I'll say defense, I feel like everything else fine. Devin Lloyd looked better. He still look great, but he looked better than he did last year. Like near the end of the year. So I feel like he's growing. Foya Luakon looks great. He's a tackling machine. He's still not great in coverage, but he's a great tackler, so that's great to know. Foya looked great. Moore Robinson Harrison didn't know some as much, but we all know he can turn on when the lights are brightest. So I'm good on him. I'm good with Rashad Jenkins right now. Tyson Campbell, like I said, was shutting down Michael Pittman until they moved him away from him. He baited Anthony Richardson into an interception, which is great, and he forced a fumble, which is great. We're going to be talking about Tyson Campbell and one of the top corners soon. I feel like he was already like approaching the top 10, but I feel like nationwide he's going to start getting the respect he's been called for, which is great because that means it's good players, good team, but it also sucks because that means we're going to start losing some of these guys because with Trevor's massive contract coming soon, we're going to end up losing somebody that we feel like we shouldn't, or it's going to be like a guy that we all love, like Agnew may be gone after this year type situation, but we'll see how it goes. I feel like Agnew was probably the most likely just because we drafted Parker Washington to kind of take his place this year's, but we'll see how that all goes at the end of the year. Because I personally feel like we need to keep Campbell and Josh Allen at all costs. We need, and obviously, Trev. So we'll see how all that goes. Now, another big key for this game is Doug Pierce has never beat Andy Reid. He wants to beat him. I know a lot of players on the team are mad because they lost to the Chiefs twice. In both games, they felt like they should have won, especially the playoff game. Say we want Chiefs fans, we were coming. If Ags doesn't fumble, y'all were going to get really worried because we were down there. It was coming. Trevor's been showing that he got that dog in him, so that's great to see. So I'm going to talk about the offense a little bit. Offensively, I feel like our entire offensive line is the only issue that's might hold us back. Again, with two guys that the Colts had, I feel like that's gonna, and only having one with the Chiefs, given that one's better than their two were. We'll see how this goes, especially with injuries. Sheriff and Fortner are both limited in practice, so they may not play. It's really gonna be rough if they're both gone. But we'll see how everything ends up. Trevor looked good. I still think he has a tendency to kind of go for the big shot a tad too much. There are moments that you need to check it down, get it going. Like even on some really crazy catch and runs, he has someone short, free in the flat, so that he could have hit. So I feel like that could be Trevor's like one thing that he's improved. Because even his fumble, he got hit as he threw it, so it was like one of those iffy. And his interception was not on him. His interception was on Tank. Obviously, it was fortunate. It was on Tank. Tank should have caught that or knocked it down. But that is what it is. Trevor's look good. But speaking of Tank, real quick, let's just go into his stuff. Tank, he got Hessler on his awareness. I mean, he had that one run where he kind of helped him and the offensive line, dragged him to like the half-inch line, which is good to see. But I mean, the interception that bounced off his hands he should have caught that or knocked it down. The fumble, they got returned for a touchdown. You got to remember, it's the league. If you didn't hear a whistle, you got to keep going. That's why a lot of teams will just say, just fall on the ball, don't try to pick it up, because fall on it, you're down, we'll continue to play the next play. If you pick it up, try to run with it, usually bad things happen. And that's what happened. It was a bad thing because, like I said, that game should have been 31-14 if it wasn't for that touchdown, which is pretty close to what I predicted. But like I said, just work on that Tank. He's still going to be the backup running back, and a lot of people were hyping him up preseason. I was like, oh, can ETN handle full workload? I feel like he can. He basically had to last year. ETN's a much better pass blocker now. I mean, he's a blocker in general because the guys we saw with Calvin Ridley's little curling route that he was turned upfield. If Calvin Ridley just step out, that's a touchdown because ETN came out of nowhere and blocked the guy in front of him, which was a great play. I think that's proven that he's trying to be a more complete back than he was. Especially now that he's another year where we're removed from the injury. That's great. Evan Ingram, like I said, looked great. He only had like 3 catches, but each one was big plays. He's showing what he could do. Calvin Ridley, like I've talked about, I feel like he was our MVP of the game. showing back with after a year and still getting over 100 and a tutty. That's good to see. Trevor's obviously fearing him a lot because even on that touchdown, Brenton Strange was wide open about a split second before Ridley, but Trevor trusted Ridley and gave it to him. That's great to see. Zay Jones looked great. They always, like we say, if y'all forgot about Zay, but Zay, like I saw a very cool thing they were talking about. Zay as a number 2 guy or number 1, that's when it's bad. But if he's the 2, or when he's the number 1, it's a bad idea. But if he's 2 or 3, he's a great weapon for that. And on our offense, he's probably going to be 2 to 3 every week, maybe 4 if Ingram's going off. But we'll see how it goes. I personally think of him more of a 4th. I feel like it should be Ridley, Kirk, Ingram, then Zay. But either way, he's a great weapon to have. Our Christian Kirk had a super quiet game. He was only targeted 3 times and 1 catch for 9 yards. I think it was just more they were just trying with Kenny Moore, which is trying to take him away more and see what Zay Jones could do. But now that they're seeing, everyone can see what what Ridley can do, that's going to clear up. He's actually going to be one of my predictions that I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes, but we'll see how that goes. The offensive line was fine. Like I said, then the interior offensive line looked fine. The coaching was fine. There was a little bit, we went a little heavy on the 4th down again, so I don't know what that issue was. I remember like last year it was because we didn't trust Riley Patterson's leg, but this year we have Brandon McManus who can kick far, so I'm not sure if it's just like for the game trying to keep the offense out there or what. Hopefully we clear that up and we just get points because points is what we need. With Press Taylor's offense so far, I'm not impressed with it. I feel like there was a couple drives, which again is his first official game as offensive coordinator calling plays. But then there were moments, if you watch Doug Pearson, he took over a little bit. I think he was like, but he's like, he got the glasses down, was reading the thing. He was calling plays. It may have not been, may have just been certain situations, but there was definitely moments he was calling plays, and that was our more successful. Like there was some drives we ran it 3 times in a row with Tank Bigsby, and it wasn't even like we were getting shut down the first 2. So the third, it was like a 3rd and 8. He ran it with him again. It was the whole system seemed a little slightly off. Maybe it's just early game jitters. But hopefully that gets cleared up. But as it gets the Chiefs, that's what we need. The Chiefs, like I said, like I touched on earlier in the video, coming off their loss, Chris Jones is back. That's going to hype. I still think we can beat them. We just got to worry about Chris Jones. I feel like our secondary is better than receivers, and our receivers are better than their secondary. So I feel like that's a matchup. In the trenches, I feel like that's where the game's going to be won or lost. Mahomes is one of the hardest quarterbacks to get down, but I think we can do it. But just real quick before I get into my predictions, make sure to check out our website at towardsthetiles.com. That's going to have a lot of cool things on there for you, mock drafts or insight, waiver wire pickups, and all this other cool stuff. So make sure to check that out. Also check out the Patreon that's patreon.com/towardsthititles. For some more like cool deals. We got the whole different tiers for you, no matter what you can afford at the moment. Like if you can only do $1 a month, we got something for that. You got to do $20 a month, we got something for that. Check it out. It's just going to help the site. I need help the traffic, help everyone come see it. Us, and then, like I said, like, subscribe, comment down below. Add a playlist, share us everywhere, Facebook, or to Apple Podcasts. Everything. Just make sure, just check it all out. If you like all this, and then obviously hit the notification bell. That way you can see not just Duval against y'all, but all these other type of cool videos and shows that we do on here, man. And we'll build something cool here. We want y'all to be a part of it. So prediction time. Everybody likes predictions. All right, so my predictions for the game this week. I'm a 30-24 Duval. We're going to avenge our games the last 2 years. We're really good at revenge games because remember, even after 2017, against it. We're losing in the AFC Championship game against the Patriots. Next year come around, we'll beat them bad in week 2. So I want to see something like that. Hopefully, this isn't like that season though, where the wheels fell off after that. But we'll see. But yeah, that's what. I just don't think the Chiefs corners can handle Ridley and Zay Jones. And then my next prediction, I don't think they can handle Christian Kirk. I'm gonna say Christian Kirk gets the tutty, and he goes 4 catches for 65 yards. I don't think he's going to put up, or 68 yards. So 4 for 68. I don't think he'll go exploding like he has been before just because Ridley's so good. Trevor's just throwing it for him. But I still think he's going to be like that. I feel like Christian Kirk, he's not one of those guys that's going to complain about, I'm not getting my catches as long as the team's winning. But so I think he's going to do 4 for 68 and a touchdown. So that's going to help his touchdown numbers go back up. Ridley, I think he's going to go for 100 again. I just think he's too good. And like I said, I think he's out to prove that he is that guy. And that he didn't lose a step during his time off. Who else? We got Trevor going for. I'm gonna say Trevor's going to get a 300-yard game and three touchdowns. I think one's going to be Ingram, one to Kirk, and then one between Ridley, Zay Jones, or if they do the Agnew outroll. Another prediction, I think our defense is going to force another turnover. I'm not saying it's an interception or fumble or something. I think there would be another turnover for us because that's what the defense was priding on after this year. So I think that's what we're going with. I think we get to Mahomes once because I feel like we learned after the playoff games to keep blitzing because we were bothering him early and then we kind of quit. But so that's good. Jawan Taylor, I'm going to, in my little surprise pick, I think Jawan Taylor's going to get called for about 2 to 3 false starts or being off the line. I think after that opening day game and the league saw how bad it's gotten since he does jump now. When he was Jacksonville, he doesn't jump. He jumps now. Because he jumps with the Chiefs. He never jumped when he was in Jacksonville. He always jumps when he's with the Chiefs now. I think the ref's going to be watching a lot harder, so I think he's going to get called for it. But I still think – so I feel like that's finally going to – because I think that was a bad look for the league for opening game for that to be offside. That off the line of scrimmage that bad and jumping that far, I don't think they'll call it. But with what Hutchinson did with that spin move, so I think both Walker and Allen are going to try that too. And we'll see how it ends up. But that's my predictions. Defense versus turnover, Jawan Taylor jumping or getting called for a false start or being off the line of scrimmage. Really getting over 100. Trevor going for 3 touchdowns, 300 yards, and Kirk going over 4 coaches for 68 yards. Let's see if I'm right after this next week, but that's it for this episode. Make sure to tune in next week, and we'll do it by week 3. But always remember, it's DUUUVAL.
What's up, Title Tribe? We appreciate you watching the show. If you want to catch up on all of our college football content, make sure you subscribe to the CFB Nation by clicking their link below. Make sure you subscribe to the Toilets Titles Podcast Network by clicking our link below. And make sure to catch our other content by watching these videos to the side of me.